Just finishing up notifications. I read that story over a decade ago. I'd appreciate a little bit more light on me. We'll see. In any case, let's move this a little bit. There we go. In any case, this is what the puzzle looks like so far. Let's do validation, and you get to, oh, not valid, close. So that's right, that's right, that's right. That's all good. Ah, right there. Let's try it now. There we go. All right, you get 20 seconds. Grab a screenshot if you'd like. See if you can solve the puzzle. You probably not in 20 seconds, but along with me or faster than me, maybe. All right, there's our 20-second mark. So we get a pair of 9s up here. A 9 here. And then a pair of 9s here. One of these two is going to be a 1. This one's going to be a 1. We got one of these two to be a 1. Over here, we've got 4 possibilities for a 1 there, and 3 here. Actually, I take it back. This is not going to be a 1. That's going to be a 1. Means this is a 1. Means one of these two is a 1. 2. We got 3 possibilities for a 2 here. 2 possibilities down here. 4 possibilities here. And these two is a 2. This one will be a 2. Let's see. So far, 6 possibilities there, 3 here. All right. That was 4 2s. How about 3s? Got one here. One here. One of these two is going to be a 3. Got 4 possibilities here. 3 possibilities. I don't know. Everything except these two. So 5 possibilities here for 3. Here I've got 3 possibilities. 2 possibilities, and they match up with the 2s. Again, 5 possibilities here. And looks like all 5 of these are possibles. All right, how about 4s? Yeah, we got 2 possibilities, or 3 possibilities for a 4 here. There are 6 possibilities over here. 2 possibilities here. 3 there. 2 here. 3 here. So moving on to 5s. And these 3 is a 5. And I've got 2 possibilities here. 3 possibilities here. 5 possibilities here. 3 there. 4 here. 5 here. 3 here. On to 6s. And there we get 2 possibilities for 6 here. 5 possibilities there. 6 possibilities here, except one of these 2 will be a 6. We're down to 3 possibilities there. All 4 of these are possible at the moment. Likewise, all 6 of these, all 5 of these, and all 8 of these. All right, 7s. 7 here and here tells me one of these 2 is going to be a 7. That means this one's going to be a 7. This one will be a 7. I've got a 7 there. One of these 2 will be a 7. And now we can look at 8s. An 8 here. 5 possibilities here. 4 possibilities here. 3 possibilities here. 4 possibilities down here. All 4 of these are possible 8s. You've got 6 possibilities down there and 4 there. And yep, we've already been through all that. All right. Did any of the 9s? Oh, we got 2 9s out there. All right. But we do have a solve here now by elimination. And the other things that could have been a 2 are no longer a 2, so that's a 2. That means I've got 3 possibilities here, 3 possibilities here, 3 possibilities here, these 2, and these 3. All right. So that's a possible 5. Both of these are possible 6s. Not a 6, but could be a 5. Let's see. We have to punch in some numbers. So, did anything punch up? We've got 3 possibilities for 3 here. 3 possibilities there. 4 possibilities here. And 4 up here. 2 there. 5 up here. 5 here. No, 4 here. 3 here. 2 up there. All right. Look at 4s again. We have 2 possibilities of a 4 here. 3 possibilities here, except one of these is going to be a 4, so it's really only 2 possibilities there, which gives me 2 possibilities here. And actually, I've only got 2 possibilities for a 4 here. This and this affect that. Quarter after 3, or quarter to 4. So still have 4 or 5 possibilities for 4 there. 2 here, okay. How about fives now? Anything useful? We've got one of these three is going to be a 5. And 3 possibilities here, 4 possibilities here, 3 here, 4 possibilities for a 5 here. As I said before, 3 possibilities here, 2 here, and yeah, those 3 there. All right, well, let's move on to sixes. One of these 3 is going to be a 6. We've got 2 up there. These 2 is a 6. I've got 5 possibilities there. Nothing helping here. So here, here, here. All right, let's flood the rest in. Unless I can think of something else here. Ah. Nope, that didn't do it. I was thinking I might have had 3s locked in someplace where I don't. I don't have any locked out of this one here. If I did, these 2 would have been 3s, one of these 4 would have been a 3, and these 2 could not be, but don't have that yet. Alright, flood fill. 1s are covered. Now 2s are. With 3s. Words. Fours are covered now. 5s. That should do with 5s for now. 6s. 3 possibilities there. 5 here. 2 down here. 6 possibilities for a 6 here. 5 possibilities here. Everything's open here. Got 6s covered up here. So just these 4 to add. 7s are all marked or earmarked. 8s. Not enough guidance on those. nines are taken care of already. So what am I missing up here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s. There we go. All right. So we got a 6 here. I'm missing something else here. 8s. Which complicates issues. All right. Just a few places where I've got or short pairs. Let's start with this one down here. We go with the 5 here. Not a 5, not a 5. Not a 5, not a 5. And not a 5. Unfortunately, that doesn't help me enough. So let's undo all those. Try a 6 there instead. Okay, that 6 gets me an 8 here. Gets me a 6 here. And that's about as far as that gets me. So let's move on to the one above it. Oh no, one of the other ones in the square that we started with. Let's try a 5 here. That says that's not a 5. That's not a 5. Unfortunately, I've got 2, 3 possibilities here. Not a 5 there. Turns this into a 3. This becomes a 2. Not a 2 here. Not a 3 in either of these. So this becomes a 5, an 8, and a 6. Move the 5s here. The 8 here as well. Move the 3 here. Here and here. Means that one of these is a 3, so that can't be. Got 8, 5 pair, 8, 5, so this is a 6. Let's clean up the 6s here. And here. Fourth doesn't help me there. Other than I've now got a 4, 3 pair here, so not an 8, not an 8 or a 5 here. 8, 5 pair here. All right. Goes with the 8, 5 pair here. Unfortunately, that doesn't help me block anything else out here. Let's see, am I missing anything else? Not a 6 here, so one of these two is a 6. That goes with one of these two being a 6. 4, 3, 4, 3, so not a 4 here or 3 there. Don't have that condition over here. All right. What else have we got? Well, let's come back here and let's try a 2 here. Oh, not a 2. Since that can't be a 2, let's try an 8 there. That cleans up. Now we've got some other cleanup to do there. That turns that into a 3. So these are cleared of that obligation. 7, 9, 9, 6, 7, 6. 7, 9, 4, 4, 8. Not an 8 here, so that's a 4. That's a 3, that's a 4. I can't decide on those yet. One of these 3 is going to be an 8. Not a 4 there. Seven, 9, 7, 9. 7, 3. 8, 6, 3, 2. Not a 2 here. So that's an 8. And I've now got 1, 2 pair here. 9, 5, 8, 5, 6, 8, 5, 9, 6. That can't be an 8 anymore. 6, 3, 7, 3, 7, 6. Okay. That's a solid triple. 8, 5, 8, 5. So this is a 4. This is a 3. That makes this a 6 and a 5 here. So not a 5 here. That becomes a 9. Not a 9 here. That becomes a 6. Not a 6 here. We've got 8, 5, 8, 5 pair. Goes with those two. This can't be a 3 anymore, so that's a 6. That makes this a 3. This becomes a 7. This becomes a 9. A 6 here. No, that's not a 6. That's a 7. All right. We got a 4 here. Says this can't be a 4. That can't either, so that's a 4, and that's a 2. This can't, therefore that can't be a 2. Makes, nor can that. That makes this a 2. This is a 1. This is a 2. So this can't be a 1 anymore. And it's a solo 8 on the row, so let's clean up the other 8s in the square. This should have been cleaned up earlier. That's a 6 now. No, it's not. If it's not a 6 as well, 1, 2, it would have to be 3, which it can't be. All right. So we get to back out to down here, I think. Actually, I've got to back out further because with that what became an 8 because it couldn't be a 2 because of that 2 over there. So let's back out to the 5. And let's put a 5 here instead. Makes this into a 2. This becomes not a 5. This becomes not a 5. Not a 2, not a 2, not a 2. 4 8s, so not an 8, not an 8, not an 8. Makes this into a 3. 6. So neither 6 nor 3, so that's a 2. Not a 2, not a 2. That makes this a 2. 8, 1, 8, 1, not an 8. Clean up the 8 down here. Not an 8 there. One of these two is going to be an 8, so neither of these will be. Makes this one into an 8. cleans up these three. Okay. Not sure what that is offhand. One of these two will be an 8 now, so that isn't, and that isn't. Okay. Ah, 5, 3, 5, 3, so this becomes an 8. Not an 8, not a 3. Fives and 3s are going to be over here, but this is now a 6, so this becomes our 5. Not a 5, not a 6. 4, 3 pair. Not a 3, so that's a 5. That becomes a 3 up here, and this becomes an 8. Not a 3 in these two. Not a 2 here, so that's a 3. That makes this a 7. Not a 3. Not a 7 here, that's a 7. This is also not an 8, so that becomes a 9. This becomes an 8. So not an 8, that becomes a 4, 5, and 6. 4 up here, not a 4. Ah, 7 here says not a 7, so that's a 9, not a 9. I've now got a 5, 3 pair here. Triple 4, 5, 6, and 3 here. 5, 4, and 3 here. Not a 5 here, so 8, 6 pair means these can't be 6s. 4, 3 pair means this can't be a 4. There's a triplet on the 4s, 4 3s. All right, back those out. I'm going to start all the way over. And we're going to do this flood fill from the beginning. There are ones there, one's there, one's there, one there. Not a 1, that makes that a 1. Not a 1, that makes that a 1. And these two become not 1s. All right. 2s. Get a 2 here. Everything becomes a possible 2 here. Down here we end up with 3. 2 possibilities here. 3 here. Three here. All right. That's 2s. 3s. We get those 2. We get these 3. We get 5 possibilities here. 4 possibilities here. 2 possibilities here. 5 possibilities here and here. Okay, 4s. 2 possible 4s here. 3 here. 4 possibles here. 6 possible 4s here. 4 possible 4s here. and 2 possible 4s here. All right, 5s. 3 possible 5s here. Did I undo something? Nope. 2 possible 5s here. 5 possibles here. 5 possibles here. 4 up here. 5 here. No, 3 here. Here we get 6 though. Or 5. And 6s. 2 possible 6s down here. 5 here. 2 possible 6s here. That makes 3 possibles here. 4 possibles here. 6 possibles here. And let's see. 5 possibles here. And everything's an open opportunity for being a 6 here. All right. 2 possible 7s here. 4 possibles here. 2 up here. 2 here means this one's not, this one is, these 2 are not. Down here we've got these 2, and that takes care of 7s. 8s, we've got an 8 here. All 4 of these could be an 8. 3 possible 8s here. 6 possible 8s here. 4 possibles here. All right. Oh, let's finish up these 2 squares as well. And we're on to 9s. We've got a 9 here. 2 possible 9s here. 2 possible 9s there. All right. That's everything. Except now we've got a singleton 7 here. So that becomes a 7. Looking for more of those, because I seem to recall having a few more filled in before I flood filled before. All right. Let's see what happens if we go with an 8 here. If anything, clean up 8s there. That makes this into a 6. So not a 6 there. And those all become not 6s. Nope, also not a 6 there. Also not an 8. That makes that into a 4. Not a 4 there. Not a 4 here. 2 possible 4s there. 7, 8, 8, 9, 7, 9 means this is going to be a 5. This will be a 6. That turns that into a 5, not a 5 there. Also not an 8 here or here. 2, 3 pair now. Not a 5 here. 8, 3, 2, 3, 8, 3 triplet. 8, 3, 8, 3 makes this into a 6. So we can clean up these two 6s. Should have been cleaned up already. 8, 3, 2, 3, 8, 4 3s. Okay. Ah, not a 5 here. Here or here. Got those two as possible 5s now. This is the only 2 in the column. Only place we could put a 2 either. That makes one of these 3 a 2 over here. So A3, A3 makes this into a 4, so not a 4 here. A3 doesn't work with anything there. So let's hunt with the 7 9s here. 7, 8, 9, 9, 7, not an 8. Not a 9. We got a 5, 3 there. 2, 3. And these two's a 1. Not a 4 in either of those. Okay. Doesn't do the solve 4s bit for me yet, but we're getting there. Six, 3, 6, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 6, 1, 2, 6. 5, 3, 8, 5, 6, 3, 8, 5, 3. 8, 3, 8, 3, 8, 3. 853, 863, 563. Now, let's try 4 here. Doesn't help much there. 82, 83, 82. However, I think it's going to help up here because that's going to be a 4. That's going to be a 5, 6, and 3. That means not a 5 here, here, not a 4 here or here. This becomes a 4. This becomes a 5. Not a 5 there. So one of these two is going to be a 5. That one is not. 6, 3 pair means no 6s here. That makes that into an 8. This becomes a 6, which is broken. All right. So let's back out that 4. And put the 4 here. So not a 4. So now I've got 4 possibilities there. Not a 4. 8, 2, 8, 3, 8, 2, 3. Okay. That 5 there, these two can't be a 5. This can't be a 6. That's been a problem for a while. Mix that into a 6. 5, 3, 5, 3 pair. 4, 5, 4, 3, 5, 3 triplet. 8, 3, 8, 2, 8, 2, 8, 3, 8, 3. Double triplet. All one, you get all 4 of them. Correction, you get all 6 of them. All right, let's attempt solving one of those. Let's put a 2 here, 8. That makes this into a 3. This becomes a 2. This becomes a 3. This becomes an 8. Up here, this becomes a 3, not a 3, not a 3. This becomes not a 2, so it's a 6. That makes this into a 3, which means that's not a solution. Okay, let's try flipping those. Put an 8 here, 2 here. 3, 8, 8. Oh, no, not 8. 3. How about 3? And 2 here. So not a 2, not a 2. That becomes a 2. Not a 3, so that's a 6. And 3 is going to be one of these 3, but that means that's not a 6. And let's see, anything else? Not a 2 here. One of these 2 is going to be a 2, but that's not, so that's a 2. Not a 6 in either of these. Triplet of 8, 5, and 3 here. This becomes an 8, because it can't be a 3. So not an 8 there, or there, or there. 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, 3. That becomes an 8. 5, 3, 5, 3. Okay, this is now a solid triplet. Over here, we've got something that doesn't belong. 6s don't belong here. Anything else? Nope, we got the right numbers for there. Here we've got something I don't think belongs. Not an 8 here. So 6, 3, 5, 6, 3, 5, 3. Not an 8 there. Turns that into a 1. So this is a 6 and this is 1. Means this and this can't be 6s anymore. Still 5, 6 pair, but now we've got 8, 5, 8, 5. So this becomes a 6 because it can't be a 5, and that causes breakage. So that's not it either. Which suggests I bollocksed something else up earlier. So let's go for earlier. And see if we can find that. All right. That, I think, was... Nope, that was cleanup. All right. Let's just start here, because that needs to be a 5 now. Not a 5. Not a 5. That also means that's going to be a 6. So not a 6, that becomes a 6. There's a 7, 8, 9 triplet, so not an 8 either here or here. Not a 6 here. 8, 4, 2, 8, 4, 2, 8, 3, 2, 3. Not a 6 here or here or here. Not a 5 here or here. That makes this into a 6, so neither of these or none of these will be a 6. And these two is going to be a 6, and I've got 3 possibilities here. Oh, this says that these 3 can't be a 6. So one of these 2. Okay, and that breaks things as well. No, actually, this is going to be a 6. Because obviously, can't have a 6 in either of these. This say these 2 can't be a 6. This says that one can't be, so that would be this is a 6, which this says it can't be. All right. So drop, keep going back. All right, that was where we started this. So let's go with, instead of a 6 here, an 8. That can't be an 8. So let's do a 6 here. That makes that into an 8. So not an 8. None of these can be 6s. That can't be a 6, neither can that. Also, these can't be 8s because of that. Let's clean up these 8s as well. And that makes this into a 4, cleaning up 4s. Not an 8 there or there. Seven, 9, 7, 9. Okay, let's work with the 7, 9 pair. 7 here, 9 here. Gotta start somewhere. Not a 9 there. Makes that into a 7. Clean up the 7 here. Anything else I need to clean up? No. Now that is not a clear confirmation of it, but generally I found if you do something like that and you end up with having cleared a set, you leave it that way for the moment. And 8, 2, 8, 6, 6, 2, 3, 8, 6, 3. Crap. I kind of hoped that was going to be a triplet. All right. This is an interesting combination. I've got a standalone 9. Okay, didn't solve anything for me, but did clear that line, standalone 9. The only 9 that was left on the board. All right. This is a triplet, or not quite a triplet. Triplets, as far as I'm concerned, are sets where if you solve one, it solves the other 3 or other 2. And that doesn't quite happen here. I mean, I could make it happen for one of these 2. If I say either of them is 8, the other becomes the 5 or the 6, and that solves that. But if I say this is a 6, that makes that not a 6, we've got an 8-5 pair. Doesn't clean up this either. On the other hand, this is an 8, where I've already got an 8, so it is a 6, but not a 6. Not a 6, not a 6, not a 6. All right. That gives me 8, 3, 8, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3, 5, 3. Only 6 in the column. No 6s here. One of these 2 now will become a 6. Ah, 6 there says these 2 can't be a 6. Neither can these 2. Still have way more than I'd like, but That's been kind of a issue through the entire board, hasn't it? Okay, let's try this as a 5, making that an 8. So not an 8, not an 8. Well, these two will be an 8, not a 5. Not a 5, not a 5, not a 5. Not an 8, not an 8. One of these two is an 8. 3 possibilities here. Way too many possibilities here. Okay. Do 2 there, that becomes a 3. That becomes an 8, 6, 3 here. Not a 6, so not a 2. Those become not 3s, this becomes a 6. So not 6s here. Not 6s here. These two is a 3. And these two is a 3. Okay. Oh, we got this as a possible 3 as well, don't we? So can't clean up that. Not an 8 here or here. 4, 3, 4, 3. That becomes a 2 here. We clean up these two 2s. Not 3s up here, so that's a 5. That's an 8. Not an 8 here or here. That becomes an 8. This becomes a 3, 4. Oh, not a... Nope. We get to back all that out. Down to the 2. And let's swap that with a 3. Turns that into a 6. This becomes a 5. This becomes a 2. Not a 2, not a 2. Not a 6. That's a 2. Not a 2, not a 2. That's a 2. 1, 8, not an 8. That's an 8, not an 8, not an 8. That's an 8. Not an 8 on these 3. Or this one. That's possibly an... that's a 2. So that makes this into an 8. That becomes a 3. Not 3s. 4, 3, 4, 3. That becomes a 5. So not 5. Not a 6 here. A 3 pair. Triplet there. Honest triplet. Pairs there. Not a 5 here or here. 4, 3, 4, 3. So this becomes a 6. We clean up these 6s. And this one, that makes that into a 4, a 5, and a 6. So not 6s here, not a 5 here. A 3 pair. 4, 6 pair, 4, 3, 4, 3, 5, 3. Oh, not 2s, so that becomes a 5, not a 5. And, oh, not a 5, so that's an 8. We clean up the 8s here. We end up with 8, 3 pair here, 8, 1 pair here. I don't see a 1, 3 pair here, but we may be getting that. We'll see. 6 here means one of these two is a 6. Works with one of these two being a 6. Solid triplet there. One of those two is a 6. Ah, that says that. There we go. So that's a 3, that's a 4. So neither of these can be a 4. Kind of knew that already, but had to puzzle out why. All right, so now I've got pair force there, possibilities there, and a pair down here. Except neither of these can be a 4 because of that 4 there. Then I got a 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 8, 2, 8, or 3, 8. Okay. So one of these two is going to be a 5. I'm thinking this is solvable, but let's see if we can work it out. So one of these two has to be a 2. That can't be a 2. All right. Figured that was an issue there. And this becomes a few penta. Solve for any one of them, and the others fall through. Mostly. Let's test that. I put a 5 here, 6 here, 4 here, 1, 2. That becomes a 3, this becomes a 4, that becomes a 3, this becomes a 6. Okay, so that's our breakage. So let's go with this being a 6 and 4, makes this into a 6. Not a 6 there, that makes that a 5, 4, 1, and 2. 3 here, 4 here, 3 here, 5 and 3 here, 8 and 1 here, 8 and 3 here. Wow, that's a lot longer than I normally take. 63 minutes, 3 seconds. Boy, thank you for hanging out with me for that. I appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful day. We got another hard puzzle coming up tomorrow. Maybe it'll be easier. we'll see. In any case, I hope to see you tomorrow, and I hope you had a better time solving this than I did.